Jordan, I've got a question for you.
Hit me.
In a perfect world, who would you be, Morris Day or Jerome? Yep, that's my question for you.
That's...
Oh man, the confusion on your face is classic. You're just as stumped as I was last week.
When it's horrible, bad and wrong. When it's horrible, bad and wrong. When it's horrible, bad and wrong.
Pretty well. It's less that I'm stumped. I mean, it is that I'm stumped, but I just don't know these guys. So
the guys that were in the clip I showed you.
well, I know they were in the clip, yeah, but like aside from that, I don't know who these people are. So
shit,
I am a little embarrassed about that fact.
Don't be. That's pretty funny. So no, but they were in the band The Time, which is one of Prince's side projects. Jungle Love.
Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
Yeah,
that's the only way I would know who they are.
Well, that's enough.
The only reference.
Because their reference is totally coming from Purple Rain. You've got to see it.
I do.
I
do. If for no other reason than to be able to talk about it with you, because it's like your #1 all-time favorite movie. You at least reference it, once or twice a week. So I feel obligated a little bit to know what the hell you're talking about.
Yes, indeed. There are quite a few movies that I dig. I mean, I don't know if they're good, but I like them.
Well, if you enjoy them, then
yes.
But,
obviously. I don't know if they're like classically good. Like Star Wars is good. But I just may think that another movie, like a B-rated movie.
Right. Speaking of B-rated movies, have you ever heard of Bitch Slap?
The name is very...
I mean, you know what a bitch slap is, but the movie
yes,
entitled... Have you ever been bitch slapped?
Yes. Yes, I've been bitch slapped. I've never been pimp slapped. That's a total different slap.
That's a line from News Radio. Did you ever see that show?
I didn't see that episode, but I've seen episodes of
it was I think they reused that line a couple of times. It was one of those running. Have you ever been bitch slapped? Or it might have been one episode. I don't remember, but I remember it was in that episode. It was so irreverent.
Yeah, like
that they were even talking about it. So it was funny. I don't know.
That's awesome.
So you've got what I was gonna say is I have this stupid Star Wars Yoda air freshener hanging up in my car right now.
That's awesome.
And it smells just like Yoda, which is kind of...
What does Yoda smell like?
I can't even describe it, but somehow these air freshener manufacturers managed to, bottle it and put it into their air freshener, which is the most impressive thing about it.
So I guess like pretending as if you're a wine connoisseur, but we trade wine for air freshener. What does Yoda smell like? I mean, you've smelled it. So
I have, but I'm not really,
So you need to delta it.
I can't really put it. I think they were kind of just channeling like an evergreen sort of air freshener, and then they just put Yoda's face on it.
So they were just like, we need something a little swampy.
Yeah.
We're gonna put Yoda.
Something like that. Anyway, so it's sitting in my car, and I was staring at it today, and I'm thinking, do I even like Star Wars anymore? I mean, because I hear what you're saying, and I'd be in the same camp as you, and I'm like, Star Wars, the epitome of awesome. I mean, that is the greatest movie of all time. But since that trilogy, those original movies, we've really only seen it, butchered and hacked to pieces and kind of peed and pooped on. So I'm not sure I have that same love for that show anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I feel you on that. But the thing about the three that came after it, which yes, they're you can't beat the first three,
right?
But it's weird because
and not to really interrupt you too much, but those first three hardly exist in their original form anymore.
They don't.
Like, any new editions that come out are still the special edition, enhanced versions of those movies. So the original versions of these movies that were made in that period barely exist, unless you actually own one of the original copies on VHS or something.
Or beta. eBay.
A Laserdisc.
CED? Yeah, I know all those formats. But, yeah, the thing about it is, like, you know, obviously the three that come after it take place in the past prior to when the first three happened. And I have a problem with that right off the bat because it looks way better than 1977 stuff. So it's like, so the future sucks? Is that what you're trying to tell me, George? Yeah, but I don't know. I miss the originals. You know, I've seen the, you know, enhanced, overblown CGI stuff,
and I've watched the Clone Wars animated movie, which I think probably was the pilot for the television show, and the movie was just so disappointing because I thought, you know, animated Star Wars, this is perfect, this is where it should be, and that movie was just so bad in my opinion. I've never watched the Clone Wars show, so I don't even know if the animated show is worthwhile or not.
Yeah, it's funny because when they came out with the last one, at Full Sail at the time, I guess in preparation for the new one, they had this special screening of I think one of the Clone Wars movies or whatever, and the two that came before it. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, it was cool just because, you know, Full Sail had all the equipment to blow your mind with the sound. So I think that was the reason we went. And then we went and saw the next one, which was alright, up until the point when Darth Vader is like, no! Everybody in the theater laughed. It was, like, horrible.
I'll say this about the first two prequels. There was always there was something redeeming about them, even if it was really small. Like in the first movie or Phantom Menace, there was the Duel of the Fates, and it was that awesome battle at the end of the movie. Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan, and Darth Maul. You've never seen anything like that before. You're never going to see anything like that again. And the score for that bit, I mean, you must appreciate it. I mean,
it was good.
Wow, his John Williams. His aside from his original music for the original trilogy, I don't think he came close to having something brilliant and unique in the prequels after Duel of the Fates. That piece of music. So that was what was redeeming about the Phantom Menace. The second one, Attack of the Clones, was almost, I mean, aside from actually seeing Yoda in action, and that was like, take it or leave it, but it was just cool to actually see him do his thing.
That's the best part for me.
Exactly, that's barely the redeeming quality of that movie. The third one, I can't say.
Yeah.
I've watched it a couple of times, like maybe 2 or 3 times, which is all I can endure. I cannot say there's a redeeming quality in that movie.
I don't know. I've only seen it probably in its entirety once. In its entirety once. And caught parts.
And what really, really bugged the hell out of me when it came out in the summer of 2005 was, and the only reason that's really ingrained in my head is because I ended up writing it into my Videorama screenplay. I don't know if you ever saw that. But it was a kind of a contextual piece to define the period. What really bugged me about that one is, like, all the critics seemed to agree, like, this was it, this was the redeeming movie, and you saw the commercials all over TV with all the critic quotes and, like, this movie is great, this is it, George Lucas finally has pulled it out of his ass and he's brought it back. And I don't think I've ever met anyone who actually had that opinion about that movie. So I really feel like that was a media. The media definitely failed us.
Yeah, like we were just sort of like, okay, you know, like at the end it was just sort of like, all right, we kind of know what happens from here on out, you know.
And I think the other thing about this is like, you know, before the prequels, you know, outside of the original movies, my whole exposure to Star Wars, my continued exposure to Star Wars were all the novels.
Yeah,
Were all those stories, which generally took place after Jedi. So I think that's another part that kind of disillusioned me to the whole thing, because this future story, you know, moving forward in the Star Wars timeline is what I knew, and that's what I would have wanted to see.
yeah.
In the cinema, and then he went in a completely different direction. So,
Very true. I don't know.
so talking about movies, Critical Times.
Love it.
I have nothing to do with this show other than providing the narration. This show is by Billo, one of our webcams alums, and Angry Punk Bronx Kid on YouTube. We're not going to have him on this episode, but maybe the next episode.
I summon thee.
I know. I wish it actually worked that way. But I already planted the seed for that interview, and we'll get him on eventually. But he's always been someone I've really respected, because he has a very creative. I recognize that very creative mind that he has. What he creates and what he puts out there is kind of iffy in quality, and it's like it almost hits the mark. It's like just off center or something. But I have to say that Critical Times is the closest he has ever been to actually nailing it. And when I read the first scripts, you know, if he sends me something, again, I think, I don't know if I've mentioned it on this show, but there's a very few people that I'm open to openly collab with, you know. It's gotta pick and choose carefully on YouTube, just because I want to maintain a certain level of quality. And Billo is actually one of those people who, he sends me a script, I don't care what it is. If he wants me to do something for him, I'm there, I'll do it, whatever. And I have to admit, when I read the original scripts, just because I'm used to reading my scripts and the scripts that I end up rewriting for webcams and stuff, so again, you know, as far as quality goes in scripts, I'm used to a certain level of quality in the scripts. So when I read his scripts, I could see where he was going with it all, but I didn't feel like it was. It was just off center of the mark. But this was his baby. It was his project. I was happy to be involved with it. So he asked me to do the narrator, and that was it. So I did that, and I've been very, very happy with the end product, and I think like it's progressively getting better the more he does with it. So what do you think of it so far?
I really like it. I mean, like the first episode I watched, I mean, like I noticed the quality was a lot better right off the bat with that one, and that was cool, you know, because you know he does have a lot of great ideas, like you said, you know, and the acting was great, and that was like maybe for me, because you know I'm always playing catch up with everybody's videos and stuff, so like, you know, like Erica, I hadn't really seen her in too many videos. Maybe
I haven't either. So I think she's.
Yeah, I think the only time I saw her was in the Dear Vlogity that we were all in.
Okay.
And she was at the like very end, but that was it. But yeah, like, and I thought, you know, them playing off each other was great. And then when the second episode came out, and then I heard your voice, I just started laughing. I was like, here we go, because you were just like, you know, being cool, and I was like, it's all cool.
I definitely like how he has taken what he's picked up from watching all of the collabs that we do over webcams, and then he's like added that extra layer to it of you know, the real world camera work, which was more pronounced in the first episode, I think, and then he kind of slacked off a little bit. I mean, it's still there, but that first episode he actually pulled back and had he showed Cedric talking to his computer on Skype or something. I thought, so to add those additional shots. But he kind of cut back on those, so hopefully he'll go back to what he was originally doing, because that, the more the better, and that was one of the things that really made it unique. I guess we kind of recapped Tube Talking and everything last week before it actually came out. And now we're actually about a day and a half, 2 days later of the actual premiere as we're taping this one, and along with the first episode, obviously we had the extended musical performance for Matt, and then your music video. How did that go for you?
Oh my God! Now, of course, in the last time we talked, we were talking about my computer, the 2003 Dell Dimension. It went scary at first, very scary, because when I first put the footage in, it was still at like a high resolution, even though the files were like way smaller.
Mm-hmm.
When he sent me his footage back, the files were like maybe 50 megabytes.
Right.
But that wasn't bad. I didn't think it was until I put it in the program and it was just choppy. Choppy. And I'm like, how am I going to edit this? So I tried not to cry about it, but it happened for a split second. So basically, I went through the process of reconverting the files to something a bit smaller that still had the same quality, and it worked out. I was shocked that I pulled it off because, I halfly know what I'm doing,
mm-hmm.
and then half I'm just kind of,
I gotta tell you, that's been probably one of the most challenging aspects of editing for me, and just dealing with the hardware, because I've gone in the past 2.5 years, I've gone from a Windows laptop to which I ended up having to stop using primarily because the power cord was going, because of the battery, and it was just unreliable. So I ended up getting the HP desktop, which is a beast. It really is. Even now it's a decent machine, more than decent machine, but for some reason it cannot play back video in the editing software smoothly. There's no reason why it shouldn't, and I would bang my head against the wall trying to figure out why. And eventually what happened, and that's what I've edited, all of Talking Heads, Talking Heads was on the laptop, and then I edited a lot on it, so I made do, but it wasn't without its hiccups. And eventually there was a major driver issue that appeared, and I was just like, I cannot not have functionality here. And I just knew that if and this was when I still had a job and I had plenty of money to spend, I knew that if I went out and invested in a Mac, that everything was going to work smoothly. What I didn't realize was how well it was going to work. So, for example, the flip cam shoots HD video, right?
Mm-hmm.
When my narrator videos, those were shot on the flip cam, and what I would end up doing, just like you did, I would down convert all that footage. There's no conceivable way that I'd be able to actually edit this high definition footage on this computer with the poor playback. You got to be able to see your video in order to edit, and so I feel like, why the hell am I even shooting HD if I can't edit HD? What was interesting is, as soon as I got set up on my Mac and I threw some HD footage at it, no problem whatsoever. And I would actually say that the iMac that I have, probably not as powerful as the Hewlett-Packard. I know it does not have as much RAM, and I'm pretty sure the HP was a quad core, and this is a dual core. So that's, I mean, as far as hardware goes, hardware isn't everything, and you know, the Mac OS, everything is contained really well, and it knows how to handle the things we need it to handle, right?
Yeah.
So
much. Yeah.
I cannot say enough about video editing on the Mac, especially when it comes to the more intensive stuff that other computers, for no reason at all, will strain under. So.
I gotta get a Mac.
Yeah.
Jesus. I need like 2 of them. But
At least.
Yeah, at least. You know, maybe more, you know.
And then I've got my little netbook that I got a replacement power cord for, finally, is up and running an application that is Windows only. So I've got this like little computer sitting on my desk just running because of this one application for Windows. And so Windows does have its place. A Windows box does have its place. And like I said, the HP is all yours once we get our studio set up, and I will reformat the hard drive to fix whatever driver error there was. So you shouldn't have any issues with it, you know, other than the ones that I just described to you.
Hey, I mean, I made it work. That was the thing about it. I made it work. Once I got into it, like, you know, like certain things, like if I would add a fade to something, like those like really quick fades at the very beginning of the video, that wouldn't play well. I just had to go by instinct that, okay, that worked, you know. But when it got to the individual clips of stuff, I could put the marker, play it back, and it would play it well. And then sometimes it would get a little choppy, but I would just replay it and it would go smooth. So it was a process. I mean, like, you know, once getting the footage in and stuff, I mean, I literally started editing because, well, I started editing on Sunday, basically the same day I gave it to you guys, because the day before I was going to start, but that's when I figured I had to reconvert all the stuff. So I did that, and I had to go to a party for Omar, his birthday. And when I got back, I was still converting stuff all throughout the night. You know, fucking did it at 2:30 in the PM, and basically worked all the way until about like 8 or 9.
Eesh.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I took breaks, but not big ones. But like just putting it all together, because once I got into it, I was into it.
Yeah, that's my editing schedule.
Yeah, pretty much it's just like I just got into it, you know. Because I started to see how it was going to flow. I could see it in my head finally, and I was like, okay, this is working.
Well, I've given this advice to Ben, and it's definitely what I always tell everybody who does any serious editing. Find out whatever software you're using, you know, find out what it is designed to like natively work with. And then before you make a single cut, upconvert or reconvert all your footage into that native format, and that really helps. Like for me, everything I do, Final Cut just exports into this master QuickTime file, and it's just this massive file, and it's native across the Final Cut applications. So every single bit of footage I get for an episode or whatever goes through that reformat before I ever start editing. And the other thing, first of all, I mean, obviously I love the video. Love the music video. It came out really great. I was very, very impressed with what you did with it. To bring that video over to what we've been talking about with Critical Times, there is a tiny little thing that I see in both your editing that is just a little thing. It's really a kind of becoming a pet peeve of mine. And I don't even know if you guys can fix it or not using the software you use. I think Billo just uses Windows Movie Maker, and I know he can't fix it with that. But it's the different frame rates or the frame sizes, you know. Yeah. And it's annoying to me because every single thing I do, every piece of video that I have to re-encode, I blow up to fill into the same and fix it so that it's the same aspect ratio. So like our video right here is a square. It's a standard aspect ratio. So what I do in Final Cut, and when I'm encoding it, I just blow it up so that it fits, and then I adjust it. up or down. And I don't know if you can do it or not, but when I see it like shift to the full screen to the narrow and then it's just
Well, see, no, I understand that, and it was like I probably didn't look for it. I didn't realize I could probably do it because you just mentioned it. So I'm like, well, the software amazed me with the stuff that I could do, the little things. So I was like, maybe it could, But at the time, I did my footage like a while ago.
Yeah,
like it had been like a couple of weeks, so. It was already what it was, and I was just like, well, it shouldn't be too bad, So.
And again, it's kind of it is a little bit more of an advanced thing. So, and since you're kind of just getting back into editing now, I mean, I don't expect 100% perfection. Like I say, I think what you did was brilliant, and if there was a criticism that I'm gonna make about it, it's the flipping back and forth of the aspect ratios.
That would definitely be the criticism I would make, in as much as a couple of scenes, like the timing was off. Mm-hmm. But that's about it.
And the other problem was you really had put yourself on a tight deadline there. So you were obviously crunching to finish it, whereas if you weren't, you probably might have taken the time to research it and see if you could have fixed that. But for the future.
Oh yeah,
you'll figure it out for the future.
And I'm sure there will be a lot more.
Speaking of which, has there any movement on the Devil Mist theme song? We're getting really close to the season. It's like 2 days.
2 days? Yeah,
3 days.
Very true. 3 days. I talked to Matt about it. Like I told you, he sent me an ass load of lyrics.
Oh, he did? He's written lyrics for it already?
Oh, remember it was like, I told you. It was like when you gave him the gauntlet challenge, I said, well, let's try and write some lyrics. And like a half hour later, he had lyrics, at me. So he didn't take long. So the lyrics have been in. I just don't know what to do with them yet. I don't. So I told him we need to make the song very catchy because in the spirit of things, Christmas songs are catchy. So why shouldn't Devil Mist songs be catchy? And it should also be epic as fuck. So we got to figure that one out. Yeah. So soon, very soon.
Cool, very cool.
Hopefully, I'm hoping. Personal deadline, I'm giving myself before Halloween.
Okay, that'd be good.
So
just bear with me 1 minute. Eric just this is why I hate using Skype, even though technically I'm not visible at all. No, now he's calling me. Eric is calling me right now.
Oh, man.
So bear with me 1 second.
Okay.
Okay.
Alrighty.
That's new. This is why I actually hate using Skype, because if I'm sitting in front of my computer, chances are I'm doing something, like editing 24/7, and if I have Skype on, then people are gonna, hey, how's it? I mean, I don't want to. It's not that I don't want to talk to you people, but I don't want to talk to you people right now. Right. So,
but I think I was talking with Cultural Enigma the other day on Facebook, and she mentioned some software, some website, or some sort of video chat thing. Mm-hmm. I gotta figure out what the name that was. Maybe that could be an alternative.
Well, I mean, I just have myself permanently on invisible for Skype, so he was just taking a stab in the dark, and I happened to be here. So
well,
I think he sensed it. I think we have a krumbination connection happening right now. I'm on Skype, and his krumbination sense tingled.
Krumbisenses,
something like that.
Yes.
Oh man. So those were like the two notes that I had to talk about.
We've
done pretty good. We've done pretty good.
Yes, indeed. But just like, in the spirit of Morris and Jerome, loved the Abbott and Costello thing you did.
Thank you very much. That was it was an episode of KrumbinesBRAIN, which reminds me, I wanted to ask you about. Let me just write this down. It's about the gauntlet, and we'll get to that in a second. So it was the episode 59 of Krumbine's Brain, my tribute to Abbott and Costello, which was the Who's On First routine. I had a hard time with that one. And it was interesting because after I finished it and uploaded it, I watched, or while it was uploading, I watched like 2 or 3 different versions of the routine on YouTube. And I was like, damn it, I really should have done that beforehand, because I did not spend as much time as I should have editing the script. I kind of found a transcript, and I just worked off of that, and I cleaned it up, but there's still parts in there. If you pay very close attention to like all the different versions of the routine, the transcript that I was working off of actually was an earlier version. So by the time they did the movie with the routine in it, they had smoothed it out so much that they're still just and even though I did my edit on the script to clean it up, there's still a kink or two in there that where it was bothering me, that's carrying over from Abbott and Costello's or early versions of the routine. But it smoothed out, I think, and came out pretty good.
I really enjoyed it. I thought it was hilarious. The editing was like, at one point it was just like nonstop. I was like, my God, because, for me, I go for the technical and then I take myself out of the technical and just watch it as a person who doesn't know how this is going on.
Right.
And so, yeah, on that level, it was awesome.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate that, obviously. And it's like I just replied to someone's comment. It's a double the size of a regular episode, and on top of that, most of the lines are so short. There's just so much editing that took place for that episode that it was definitely harder to do than any of the other ones. What I was going to mention, and you haven't seen it yet, but you will. I mean, it's tomorrow's episode of Krumbine's Brain. There's a myriad of topics I'm covering, but the one that I'm bringing up, I want to bring up the last episode, or the last gauntlet challenge that I put out there for Dave, which stirred up all kinds of really stupid bullshit. I can't tell you how idiotic it's been. Basically, he's not accepting the challenge.
Yeah.
Well, but that's what I said. I said he wasn't going to accept the challenge. So, this third party who was getting involved with it, I have no idea why, he was going back and forth with me, and which is a great way to generate ideas, to have conversations and interact with people, obviously. So I'm just engaging in this conversation for my own entertainment. I don't care about any of this anymore. I mean, if he doesn't want to accept the challenge, he doesn't want to accept it. Whatever, who gives a shit? So I'm engaging in this conversation with a third party who has nothing to do with it, other than I should tell him about. He was like, I should tell him about the gauntlet because he doesn't watch your videos. Well, I don't care if you do or don't. I don't care. And towards the end of this conversation, I was like, well, would you want to accept Dave's challenge? And all of a sudden, I'm just like, wow, how awesome an idea would that be? If Dave's not going to accept the challenge, open it up. Let anyone accept it, because Dave can't or won't accept it or whatever. So that's what I did in this next episode of Krumbine's Brain, which everyone's already seen by now, but you haven't seen it yet because we're talking a day early. And I basically say, Dave isn't accepting the challenge. Do you think you can accept it on his behalf? I just think that is really funny. The notion of someone else accepting the challenge, the gauntlet challenge, on his behalf, basically.
Because it's too chicken shit to do it.
I'm not sure I'd use those words, but my brain would, and obviously you did, so.
Me and your brain hang out a lot. You know what I mean?
Oh, man. So that's what's interesting over here. We'll see how that plays out.
I'm interested in seeing it because, well, I'm just always interested in
I
seeing
know,
what
right?
everybody's doing.
If no one else steps up to accept the challenge, do you think you'd do it?
I can't say that I wouldn't.
Because this is the
say
second
that.
gauntlet, and right now it's just like hanging out there.
So this is gauntlet number 2. So
It is so
Birdo
unclaimed
was the
right
first
now.
one, right?
Huh?
Birdo
Birdo.
was the first one,
Right.
and this is number 2 for Dave, but he's not doing it. I might.
You might?
Because I mean, now I got to start posting content on my channel for real. Now.
You've raised the level of expectation,
Yeah,
which is a very dangerous thing to do.
I didn't. I knew I couldn't come weak, but I wasn't expecting to do that. You know. Yeah, just following what I've always seen in music videos, basically.
It came out great.
Thank you. But yeah, you know, I'll rewatch the video because at the moment I'm having a lapse on what it is I have to do for said gauntlet. Could you remind me?
Oh, it's so simple, and
Just
you
make
can
a video
do
better than the one.
you can do whatever the hell you want to do. The only requirement is that it has to be more entertaining or better than the video in which the gauntlet was thrown down in, and I'm updating it, so it'll be tomorrow. You just watch tomorrow's video and you'll see that's the video that you would post the response to. And it's really anybody's interpretation, you know.
So, yeah,
you could record what ultimately is the shittiest video, but I mean, if you think it's more entertaining than what I put together, you're in the running. I mean, and it's so open-ended. You can do whatever the hell you want. It's just, I mean, it's the simplest challenge, I think, for someone to undertake.
Very true. But I mean, yeah, I think I can do it.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what kind of response it gets tomorrow.
Yeah, I want to see the responses first.
And well, maybe we'll be lucky and we'll have a couple of people try to throw. Basically, you're showing Dave a little bit of love. You know, lending him a bit of a helping hand. So you know, maybe a couple of people will decide to do that for him. You know, that could be kind of interesting.
Yeah. Only time will tell.
Pretty much. So I guess the only other thing I was interested in talking, unless you have something that you wanted to touch on.
Mine's a blank slate.
Completely blank. Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah, just at the moment.
Are you excited about the next episode of Tube Talking?
Yes, I am.
Even though there's no script yet and
no
you know
script.
nothing about it.
Know nothing about it. No, dude. This weekend, like I think, like I said, we kicked it up because it was like all this stuff came out, webcams. Then it was Tube Talking. Then Matt's performance, the video, all of it. It was just and moderately successful across the board. You know, for what we did. So. Yeah, I was reeling on that success yesterday.
Yeah, I've said it before, but when we have a weekend like that, and it's not frequent, but there have been some major milestones in the past couple of months. It's intimidating to post the next video because it's like, really? How do I follow?
Yeah,
I don't want to follow Tube Talking. You know, and the fact that I followed it with the Abbott and Costello sketch, so I mean that's 4 videos.
Yeah.
Tube Talking, the extended performance, the music video, and then that episode of KrumbinesBRAIN. That's 4 videos in a row that are just out of this world.
Yeah.
I mean, eventually you have to drop off, and it's just like, oh.
Hey, maybe it gets crazier. Let's just hope it gets crazier.
I wish, but I mean, the episode 60 of KrumbainesBRAIN, which is the next one, it's a little on the crazy side because of the gauntlet and some other details, but it's not who's on first. It's not Tube Talking, so that's the drop off.
I'm speaking for the future. Yeah, we might. I know. Maybe this will be a plateau and then rise. Plateau and rise.
Oh, absolutely. Eventually, we'll overtake we'll eclipse our success of this weekend. Which I have to say, at the start, I say I'm tired. I'm tired, and
Yeah.
and it's been an exhausting weekend. We've done a lot of shit this weekend.
Yes,
We
we
got a lot of
have.
stuff done.
Quite marveled at all of that. Like, yeah, yesterday I was just like, oh, I was just out, you know. But still happy. Like I said, reeling from what we did because like everybody was complaining about Monday and everything, and I'm just like,
I'm excited about it.
could be Friday, you know, for all I was concerned, you know. So it was awesome. But yes, Tube Talking, episode 2. Looking forward to it.
Very
Don't know
cool.
what it's about, but I'll be there.
I mean, I have like the basic notes for it, and we have the guest star lined up,
Cool.
and we have the guest for Tube Talking lined up, as well as a secondary guest star in the show. But I mean, how it's all gonna play out, I don't know. I haven't. I started thinking about it a little bit, but I certainly have not done any writing for it yet. But it'll happen. I've been busy writing some other stuff.
Cool. What have you been writing, if I may ask?
About 10 months ago,
Mm-hmm.
I started, and I know this because Google Docs has a handy revision documentation, documents all the revisions, and I was like, because I got back into writing this project, and I was talking to Sam, and I was like, do you remember when I started this? I don't remember. I was like, oh, there it was, under the revisions, 10 months ago. Okay, so 10 months ago, I was like, you know, I had this idea for a novel about Zaphod Zombie, written from his perspective, you know, written in the first person perspective, and it's called On the Outside Looking In. Living impaired among the unimpaired living. That's the title of the book, and it's a novel. It's Zaphod Zombie's story. And I thought the idea was really unique. I think the concept of zombie fiction that's not zombie apocalypse, you know, it's you know, I figure that was totally unique. No one's ever done it before. Later, I found out there's like one book on the market that does the exact same, does something very similar. But I think on the whole, it's still a very, very unique idea, especially with what I'm doing with it. Anyway, I picked that back up, and have been working on that lately, and I am very committed to finishing it this Devilness and having it done for sometime during this season. I think that's my Devilness resolution, to finish the Zaphod Zombie novel.
Hells yeah. That's cool, man.
Yeah.
Very cool. Zaphod.
And then make it and the Explorers of the Unknown book available in the Apple iBook store, because I think that just makes it accessible to people.
Very true.
Because I mean, and cheaper too.
Yeah, you know, like any format you can get it in. Man.
Pretty much.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. Zaphod was awesome in the Yothroke video, by the way. That video is like
I need to do some more music videos, don't I? I've been so damn busy. I keep thinking of it, but it's just been. There's so many other projects. I mean, I still have one unproduced episode of Little Zombies to do before we start the next batch of new episodes. And with that, actually, I've spent the weekend 2 weeks ago prepping all the material for it. What I've done is create little cutout puppets
Oh, really?
of all the little zombies, and I have the eyes and the mouths on separate as separate elements, and a little bit of tacky putty to affix them. So I'm going to shoot it all against a green cardboard poster or blue poster, see how that works out, and do actual. It's not a cutout animation, but kind of like basically puppet show almost, a cutout puppet show. That's what I want to do with Little Zombies. That's what I've been planning on doing and prepping, because the animation, I can't do the full amount of animation, and I'm not thrilled with the motion comics, because I think taking it a step back, and as far as technique goes with the cardboard puppets, I think that would add to it more than it takes away.
Yeah, no, that's very interesting. I haven't seen that, in a while at least.
Well, I mean, that was the concept, basic premise behind the Vampires of Walmart. So I'm just, which is where I got the idea from. So I just, just build it up from there.
Yeah, that's very cool. Yeah, because the whole video thing for your throat. I mean, like after Vampires of Walmart came out, it was like
that was another one. Where do you go after that?
Yeah,
you hit the mark, and it just.
I think that surprised everybody for me, because I was just surprised about how many green screen elements you threw in there at points. Like the one scene where all the vampires are all around him and stuff, and. Yeah, he goes off. Yeah. But it was awesome. Yeah.
Well, we do not have much. Well, I shouldn't say that. I've got a couple of scripts from Ben that I'm sitting on. I have a couple of my own scripts that I still need to rewrite because they're too weak, and I haven't quite figured out how to bring them up. But other than that, and the golf episode and your Dating Insanity episode of Webcams is kind of at a standstill. Okay. It's at a little bit of a plateau right now. Mm-hmm. What do you think we should do?
That is a good question. Because I mean, we've hit them with some hard hitters in the last, I would say, 4, 5 episodes.
They've all been exceptional.
They've all been really good. So I don't know. I'm trying to think, if golf goes well, and I'm close to being done with Dating Insanity. If those two go well, hopefully at that point we have more ideas, or I don't know. What do you think we should do? Do you have any?
Well,
ideas?
I have always viewed Webcams as the collaborative show for everyone else. Well, maybe I haven't always, but that's the mindset that I'd like to stay in on that. I do have an appreciation for it as the proving grounds, and we can see, based on people's performances and their technique and the quality of their equipment, their hardware. There's no way to say that without sounding weird. The quality of their cameras and audio. Through webcams, we can. I mean, obviously, I am using it to draw talent out for Tube Talking, because Tube Talking is not a show where anything's gonna go, and everybody has to be at a certain level of quality, both in in video and audio, and also their performance. So that's. Webcams, I like that it's serving that secondary purpose as kind of being a screening process, if you will. What I really desperately want to be able to do, and I'm very hesitant about it because I've had such bad experience with it in the past, I would really like to see someone else come on to edit that show. Because I think that would, just because, I mean, right now with my schedule and what we're doing, mm-hmm. I think editing has been the main reason why webcams has kind of slowed down to every 2 weeks, just because with everything else I'm doing, it's a lot to have to edit webcams on top of that, and if I'm not careful, I'm going to really screw myself over, and I don't want to burn myself out. So that's certainly one thing that I would like to see, and I think it would definitely help the show as far as consistency goes.
Very true, very true.
But like I've said, I've had bad experiences with that, and and I know we just talked about it, but aside from me sitting down, setting you up with the same editing equipment that I have, and then walking you through what I do step by step, I mean, and I don't mean this in a bad way, I just have never seen I've not met anybody who's capable of editing a webcams episode the way I edit the webcam, the way I do it. So it's, as much as I want to be able to find someone and hand those reins over to them, I'm very reluctant to do so, because I fear a very major loss in quality.
I can understand that, because I mean, like, you've got a unique editing style for not only tube talking but also, of course, webcams. So anybody who would take that over would have to get to that point.
Yeah,
that's the way I feel. Like, I think that I could do it, but I need better equipment before I could do it.
Yeah.
So, I'm working on that, because I mean, I pitched a fit after like editing the video. I was like calling my mom and talking to Rose. I'm like, yeah, I need a better computer, like now, because I'm trying to get there.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's about time that I did, because I can only wish for so long.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of those things. So like, whenever I get that, I would be more than happy to audition and show you what I could do, and stuff. But anybody that's out there, that knows they have the quality, contact Krumbine.
Yeah.
Talk to them. We'll see what we can do, But I feel you on that, because you are burning the midnight oil on this stuff, brother. For sure.
Yeah, and I think the other end of that is the whole writing process, and I don't know, like, I really I appreciate it immensely when other people write scripts, but aside from a handful of special exceptions, I still have to rewrite the script.
Yeah.
And even on those special exceptions, I still rewrite their scripts too, but it's less work.
Yeah.
And what's interesting about the rewrite process, for me at least, is actually harder than writing a fresh script, which isn't to say it's not worth it.
Yeah.
I don't want Ben to think that. He's written so many scripts, and I spend a lot of time working on his scripts, rewriting them. I'm immensely grateful that he writes them, and I love that he does them, and I love the experience of rewriting them and seeing the finished product come together. But it is a lot of work and harder. So, for me, those are the two most difficult aspects of webcams, and those are the reasons why it's slowed down to every 2 weeks, and why I'm even asking you about it, because I don't really have any notes or any ideas in the bank for future episodes anymore. So I'm a little tapped out right now as far as concepts.
Yeah, I feel you on that. I mean, like, where I'm at right now, as far as like stuff, is like I'm almost done with that goggle script. At least the first draft. Like, I've almost written it down to where, okay, I'm at the end.
Right.
So I'm not too far from that point. And I've written a couple of different episodes of webcams. Well, one has been aired, and the other one is in the works. But I mean, I could always try and write more stuff.
Were you the one I sent a couple of concepts to? You said you were interested in writing, and I threw some concepts to and said you'd see what you can do with those.
I believe so. I got to check back in my emails, and check out those concepts?
Yeah.
Because I can't recall what...
I can't recall them either, because what happened was, many, many months ago, I sat down and brainstormed with a couple other people just a laundry list of episode ideas, and then I kind of divvied them up among these people. And when some of them didn't, and when these people didn't do the actual episodes, you know, I eventually got to them and wrote the episodes, and I think, like, I sent 2 of them to you, and I don't remember what they were, so we both should look. And
yeah,
they're 2 good ideas right there.
Because I remember the email, but I cannot remember what they were.
Actually, I think one of them ended up kind of becoming the Peg. I think.
Maybe. I'm not sure. Not sure.
I don't know.
But, yeah, you know, because there's got to be ideas out there. Because
I know. It's just...
You know, it's a matter of, you know, taking
I think that's what I need to do again. Maybe we can do that in an upcoming episode. Just sit down and brainstorm a laundry list of ideas, and then just put that in the bank and start working off of those for upcoming episodes. I don't know, but yeah, I think it is important to sustain it and maintain it, the webcam show, because I think it's too important to let it drop off too much.
Yeah,
I wouldn't want to see it, you know, any more of any less than every 2 weeks, you know. That's a little bit, that's as far as, you know, when I'm wearing my producer hat, I think that's too much, just because the interest has been high and people do want to be involved with it. And like right now, I've got emails from people and people who are saying they're interested, and as far as I'm aware for right now, our next 2 episodes are totally in the can and have no opportunities for other people to get involved with. So, and I feel a little bad about that.
Yeah, I feel you on that. No, I mean, it's definitely a concern, because, I mean, that's what we want. We want people...
Right, that's the point of the show.
Stuff, you know, it's just been these, I guess the next 2 episodes are specialty episodes based on the fact that one is an old one and one is, you know, a concept between the 2 of us.
Right, and this old one, the golf episode, I swear to God, it is cursed.
Why?
I mean, it's everything, all the other delays. Yeah. Okay, and then I finally get the footage, and I was encoding today. Like I told you, I encode everything up into a master .mov file, and I'm looking at Tripp's video, the Anglo-Baptist, and I see on the waveform in the editing, all of a sudden it flatlines. Like, the first 2.5 minutes is good, and then for the rest, the rest of the 15 minutes or something, it's total flatline. So I actually look at the footage, and it's frozen. There's nothing there, no audio, and I'm like, oh, that's not good.
Yeah.
So I email him, and first thing he says, sorry, I deleted the video. And I'm like, of course. It's the golf.
No. Oh.
So I tell him, and I'll share this with everybody. If you're collabing, if you're involved with webcams, if you're submitting footage, do not delete anything until you see that episode online. Don't delete anything.
Yeah.
So as it turns out, he didn't actually delete it. Okay. It was still around. He was able to find it somewhere. So I'm like, okay, thank God. He doesn't have to reshoot anything, because if he did, then it would be even more delays, because it was hell just trying to get him to shoot it the first time around. So he heads over to Blip TV, uploads it right away. And just for all the people who are watching this and aren't aware of this little detail, anybody who collabs, I always encourage them to upload their raw footage to a Blip TV account, because Blip TV is very similar to YouTube, except for the fact that it has an option in the little drop down menu underneath the video, says select which video you want to play. You can play the encoded FLV file, which is the same on YouTube, or you can play the master video file, which is what the person uploaded. When you select it to the master video file, on the bottom of the page, there's a download link. So Blip TV allows very simple sharing of that raw video file, which is very handy for when that video file is hundreds of megabytes and 15, 20, 30 minutes long. So it's a very crucial, in my opinion, very crucial collab tool.
Yeah.
So anyway, Trip goes ahead and re-uploads the video because we figure, because it's all fine on his end, and we figure that somewhere along the line, maybe my download of the video was corrupted or something for the golf episode. So he re-uploads it, and a few minutes later, I hop on over to his Blip TV page, and
It flatlines.
no, there are a couple of JPEGs, just 2 pictures that he uploaded.
That is horrible, but awesome. That is awesomely horrible.
So I email him back, and he's like, ah! And I just like, it's the curse. There's something, this episode is cursed. Eventually, he gets the right video uploaded. I don't know what happened at anywhere along the line, but I've got the footage now. I haven't captured my footage for the episode, but I have it all recorded, so there is still room for something to happen.
Well,
But,
we hope nothing happens.
I hope to have this done in about 2 weeks or so. I don't know, but
Word.
it's definitely a cursed episode.
Did you get my song? Did you ever check?
I
for
did
that?
find it. Yes, it's you might want to. I'm glad you mentioned it. You might want to redo it because when you listen to it now, compared to everything else you've done, it's like, I mean, it works for what it is, and and you nail exactly what you're doing because it is that Sports Center kind of theme.
That's what I was going for, the whole ESPN pastiche. So I've heard it ever since then. It's
You
not
have,
like I
yeah.
haven't gone back to it. But yeah, I don't know. It just makes me laugh at the end.
I mean, I'm gonna use it either way, but no, it is a good track. And I have to see it all come together because it's been. This episode's a mess. This episode is a mess. And honestly, don't redo the song. Don't do anything with it. Leave it alone. We don't need any more problems with
more
this.
craziness.
Exactly. Alrighty, Chris. It's been great talking to you this week. I gotta catch up with Eric, see what he needs from me. We'll have a little bit more to talk about next week, I think.
For sure.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and stop recording, but don't go anywhere because I have another thing for you. Thank you everyone for watching. Stay tuned. Another vlog-a-log coming along sometime, eventually, whenever that may be. Goodbye.
When it's horrible, bad and wrong.